Okay, today is Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. This is a very important committee of the whole meeting. Tonight, we have Dr. Becky Barron, who actually earned her doctorates with her, they call it thesis still?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah,
got her
I mean-
thesis, her thesis, well,
I don't know
her
what they call
thesis or doctoral
It was a
paper.
project, yeah.
Probably, whatever, was based on the Elk Grove Cares program,
Mm-hmm.
which will come up on her 4th anniversary. And Doctor did a great job analyzing, doing work on it, and actually we're incorporating some of her suggestions already, as Des Rafferty, our main guy on this program, and Deputy Chief Burke back there is working with it, and we thank you for that. So we're hoping to have you tonight kind of go through your findings, what you saw, some of the recommendations, and hopefully the outlook for the future. So, and we can call you doctor now.
You can.
Doctor, the stage is all yours.
Thank you. So again, my name is Rebecca Barron. This was done as a project for my doctoral nursing practice degree. And it occurred from May through about September of 2021, so much recently. So the title and kind of what we're talking about today is reducing opioid deaths and improving access through our Elk Grove Village Cares program. And Des was my preceptor for the program and my contact person. And then I also met with various members of the police department and village leadership. So some of the background, as you know, the Elk Grove Village Cares program was implemented in July of 2018. It is fully grant funded through the Community Law Enforcement Partnership for Deflection and Substance Use Disorder Treatment Act program in Illinois, which is appropriated through the Illinois Criminal Justice Information Authority. So the program, as you know, includes a path of access through the police department, naloxone education, and naloxone use by police officers. We've also engaged in community partnerships to educate and reduce harms of those experiencing addiction. So the purpose, again, was to evaluate and determine the reach and impact of this unique community program. So the aims of our program was looking to identify individuals and families experiencing individuals and families experiencing opioid use disorder. Does the CARES program, along with partner associations, reduce overdose and deaths compared to no program in the community? Okay. So here we're after meeting with the program stakeholders, we kind of determined some of the things that we wanted to accomplish. So our aims were to evaluate the number of opioid-related deaths and overdose in the community, evaluate the locations and number of naloxone kits within the community, evaluate knowledge about addiction in the community, and to evaluate the current access into rehab and recovery services. So this is a program evaluation. And again, like I said, the stakeholders of the program are village leadership, police officers, community members, the participants of the program. And like I said, the program evaluation is just a term that's used for my project as a type of project. But it's really to determine, have the things that you've implemented within this program accomplish what you intended it to accomplish, and to what extent? Okay, so the first aim, we're looking at evaluating the number of opioid-related deaths in the community. So the rate from 2018 to 2019 decreased by 3.5 overdoses per 10,000 people, or a count of 9, as you can see. Now, unfortunately, this is through the Illinois Opioid Dashboard overdose rates. So this is the data set that I used for this, but it's significantly behind. It only goes up to 2019. So that wasn't great for my purposes, because I wanted to have more real-time data. So we went ahead and looked at a different data set, and it was the opioid deaths via the medical examiner's report. And as you can see, Since program implementation, and I know it started in the middle of 2018, but I went from 2019 to present, the death count has been 2 or less, okay? Or an average of 1.7 deaths. So the mean death count has been reduced by 3 since the Elk Grove Village CARES program implementation, which I think is pretty significant. So the AIM-2, we wanted to look at the locations of these naloxone kits. So as you know, there are naloxone kits in all of the village buildings. But unfortunately, we found out that in the community survey, almost 40% of our residents did not know they were there, okay? So, I mean, with that being said, we need to increase, people's knowledge about their locations. The other thing that I wanted to kind of highlight here, or my question was there a pattern to the locations of those individuals? Where did they die? Okay. So looking at that, I found there wasn't really a pattern. 6 died in motels, 8 died in either apartment or condos, and 8 died in single-family homes. Okay. So really continuing to get naloxone into the hands of community members, and especially those at-risk community members, and educating about the kits should continue to be a priority. So AIM-3, this is where we got into the survey data. I implemented a survey of both community members via social media and then also the law enforcement through their email. So looking at the results of the community, we had a participation rate of 222 members of the community responded. So some of these results I kind of highlighted here. About 27.6 know someone living with opioid use disorder or has experienced an overdose. 45 agree that drug use is a problem in the community. 49% agree that alcohol addiction is a problem. But unfortunately, 14% of community members believe that addiction is a private family matter and not a community problem. Looking at the law enforcement data, 32% of law enforcement officers know someone living with opioid use disorder or someone who has experienced an overdose. 71% of the responding officers had never administered naloxone, while 13% had administered it once, 13% had administered it twice, and 1 responded administered 3 times. And then the next 3 bullet points are very good. 87% of the officers have been provided enough information to manage an overdose. 100% of officers feel they're able to recognize signs and symptoms of overdose. And 92% are confident in their ability to administer naloxone. So when we look at attitudes, 16% of community and 15% of law enforcement officers believe that those who overdose need to learn a lesson so they will not do it again. 15% of the community, but only 8% of law enforcement officers believe that those who overdose should be arrested. 17% of community members and only 9% of law enforcement officers believe those who overdose deserve life-altering consequences. And then 90% of the community and 66% of law enforcement officers believe in the potential to change. And then looking at program-specific attitudes, and what I meant by that was more the naloxone and the specific aspects of the program that have been implemented. So 13% of the community, 12% of law enforcement officers believe that programs and train and distribute naloxone encourage opioid use by sending the message that drug use is okay. 92% of community and 90% of law enforcement officers believe that training first responders on distributing naloxone save lives. 16% of community and 5% of law enforcement officers believe there should be a limit on how many times someone should receive naloxone. And then 13% of community and 12% of law enforcement officers believe there should be a limit on how many times someone receives rehab. And then 23% of community members and 50% of law enforcement officers believe opioid users will be less likely to seek out treatment if they have access to naloxone. So the two community agencies that are in partnership with the Elk Grove Village Cares program are the Kenneth Young Center and Live for Lolly. Okay, I'm saying we, like I did anything to do with it. They've engaged in these partnerships and in efforts to expand reach into other suburban and local areas, and then put the efforts of education and providing recovery resources into the hands of the experts, okay? The CARA Act, which is the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act grant, is awarded by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and it has been awarded to the Elk Grove Village Cares program and our community partners. It's a 4-year grant, and for each year they are awarded $325,000. So some of the milestones that have been achieved through this grant have been the Elk Grove Village Police Department, Kenneth Young Center, and Live for Lolly are now all naloxone distribution sites for the state. Almost $100,000 has been used on purchase of nasal naloxone. 892 people have received training in use of naloxone in our area communities, and 9 other suburban police departments in the target communities are now also trained in naloxone usage and safety. Both high school districts' nursing staff have been trained, and naloxone is available in the high schools, and 3 SMART recovery programs have been launched. And SMART just stands for Self-Management and Recovery Training, which is an alternative or complement to Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. So aim 4, we're looking at access. Okay, so I first wanted to look at all of our participants and just give a little background about demographics and things. So there were 84 total participants, of which 11 entered the program more than once or repeats. 63 males, 21 females, 71 were white, 11 were Hispanic, and 2 were black. I also wanted to look at residency because, you know, I live in Elk Grove, and I know through social media some of the kind of the talking points is, oh, you know, we should restrict it to just people that live here. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, really, how much of a problem is that where people are coming in and seeking our CARES, you know, services or access? So what I found was really, you know, it's not a problem. Okay, 33 were residents of Elk Grove. 35 were other suburban residents, pretty local to our area. 7 were City of Chicago residents. 5 participants identified themselves as homeless without a city of resident. And then, and there were more in there that may have identified themselves as at a city, but they also put that they were homeless. So they were either unstable housing is what I would imagine. And then most of the referrals were made by a family or friend. Okay, and you can see then the breakdown by year in the little pie chart there. I also looked at the drug use presentation profile. So the most common substances were alcohol, heroin, and then those admitted to using 3 or more substance or polysubstance abuse. Additionally, alcohol and cocaine or crack. We had 4 people that had, you know, that was their combination. Alcohol and heroin were 6. Heroin and crack, 14, and then again, 3 or more was the kind of the highest. There were 4 that did not have a substance listed on the intake form, so I, you know, had no information there. Okay, so the 2 main inpatient treatment centers utilized are Gateway and Share. So Gateway has multiple locations within the state. I kind of chose the 3 most utilized and just basically local locations, and then I listed their capacity and occupancy. And then SHARE is in Hoffman Estates, and you can see that there's the bed availability there, at least, okay, hold on. What is my problem here? Sorry, I'm having mouse, oh crap. Sorry. I'm just trying to move my mouse, but that's okay. I'm just gonna wing it. Okay, so as you can see, this lists a daily rate. Each of these inpatient programs has a contract with the CARES program where we have a memorandum of understanding, or that's the other word for like a contract, where inpatient treatment will be provided for a daily rate of $325. The average length of stay for each program is listed, and then you can also see the volume of admits through each program. Okay, this is just a display of the weekly program offerings for those in recovery or families seeking support opportunities through both of the partnerships, Live for Lolly and Kenneth Young Center. As you can see, there's something every day of the week. Okay, I also had the opportunity to interview and speak with 2 program participants. And you can kind of see my little synopsis there, but both participants had some sort of psychologic injury that they described. They both went through inpatient treatment, transitioned to a halfway house, and then a sober living facility, and they both utilized long-term community resources. Okay, this table displays the grant money awarded and the grant money utilized. As you can see, looking at the CLEPD grant, the Elk Grove Village Cares program utilized about half of the funding, half of the available funding dollars. So at this point, program sustainability does not seem to be an issue. It looks like it has financial fortitude. Okay, so as we move on to discussion and implications, so kind of why is this all important, right? Again, kind of hitting the highlights, since program implementation, the rate of death from opioid use has decreased an average of 1.7 deaths. The police and community did respond similarly to many of the survey questions. And despite receiving education about addiction, some of the officers, maybe professional experience, cynicism, or values, may have had more influence than some of the education received. And then one of the large concerns that I found was that still approximately 50% of law enforcement officers believe that access to life-saving naloxone may be an inhibiting factor to treatment. Now, I spoke with also Laura Fry of Live for Lolly, and one of the things that she made, a statement at one of her speaking engagements was, really the only thing that is absolutely required for recovery is a pulse. So some of the recommendations, and I will say I have already met with leadership from the village and the police department, and a lot of these have been already implemented. But as we know, the program has undergone new administrators. Mike Gaspari has retired, and we do have a new administrator. So this is kind of a nice time to take advantage, re-educate and reinforce goals, recruiting champions that are comfortable and willing to participate in intake efforts on evenings and weekends, as there seem to be some resentment that some of the intake activities, like I said, on evenings and weekends fall to patrol. So this third one here that I reported out, 19% of law enforcement officers are not confident with conversations about referral after an overdose. This can be an opportunity to improve. After discussing it with some of the leadership, I don't know if it's a confidence issue, as more an opportunity issue. It seems like they're the ones that are initiating and administering naloxone, and then the ambulance comes and they're being shipped to the hospital. So there isn't really time to have those formal referral processes done by the police officers in those situations. So it was suggested that we include EMS, fire department, and even emergency department staff. So the nurses, physicians, that they have some sort of, either card, referral, or knowledge about the program that they can more appropriately, engage in these conversations, not immediately after they've been Narcaned. Okay. Now, in the community survey, there was a lot of people that wanted to help. And really, there's nothing within the program that they really can help, but we should try and offer and mobilize and engage these in the community willing to help. We know that our local PADS, homeless shelters, are always looking for volunteers. They can also volunteer at some of the community agencies, Live for Lally and Kenneth Young Center. Okay. It is also my intent to share findings in whatever capacity. Professionally, I'm hoping to maybe publish in some sort of representative journal, either something with public health, law enforcement. Okay. And then finally, there were some limitations. The 2 participants that I talked to were sampled from convenience. We had their names and numbers, and I was able to call them. And then always, survey responses may not be representative of the population. Again, this was a small sample percentage of both the community and the law enforcement officers. And then the high rate of neutral responses, okay, 25 to 30% of the responses on the law enforcement survey were kind of right in the middle. So they may, I don't know, are they withholding true opinions to protect them professionally because this is something, that they didn't want to have, a opinion one way or the other, okay? Or at least shared with me, okay? And then here are all my references, and that's it.
Doctor, let me ask you, first off, very thorough job, thank you. It seems like a lot of you things, about 80 to 85% people had positive feelings about the program, which that's a big percentage, I would think. Because I know one of the things we were worried about when we started this program was, a lot of people did have the mindset, hey, it's self-inflicted, they did it to themselves, why are we helping them? Or people that are repeat offenders, why do we keep zapping them back and stuff? But it seems like your numbers show the people didn't give up. They want to keep trying to help them and fulfill.
Yeah, there's a small percentage that, that 10 to 20%, like you're, identifying that, I don't know if we were able to change their minds. That may be the people that are just kind of laggards
Right.
in innovation, right? You're not going to be, be able to, or it may take quite some time.
But now, I thought one great part you had, and I know you already work with the police department and does all that, people change. We get new people on, people leave.
Right.
So the re-education was a big step. But the thing I found the most important that you brought was how you said, we need to make sure the hospital, the staff in the emergency room of that are buying into it. People in the ambulance, as they're taking them, are buying into them because the officers don't always have the opportunity
Right.
to get them going. And by expanding that sphere to people that have more contact at the right time, that can make a big difference. And that was, I think, a great piece of information we found that can be helpful on that too. One thing I do want to point out, I know a lot of people don't reside in Elk Grove, but they got in the Elk Grove program because they have relatives still here, friends are still
Friends of a
here.
friend
So
and
even though they don't
family.
live in Elk Grove, they're still tied to Elk Grove on that. But the best thing you showed was it appears to be working at saving lives. That you can document over the years, the decrease and all that. So it is making a positive step that way. Obviously, it's a long way to go with anything. But I'm thanking you because, one, you put out some ideas. I know Des, I know Danny back there and the chief all are taking your ideas and trying to incorporate, like I said, they're already doing the stuff you recommend. And more importantly, gave us a chance to get a outside set of eyes
Yeah.
to look unbiasedly at what we're doing. And if it is making a difference, all that. So at the end of the day, if someone said, well, what do you think of the Elk Grove Cares program? And is that something that should continue? From your analysis, what would you respond?
I mean, as you can, imagine my response would be, I think it is a beneficial endeavor. I mean, it's showing great results and objective results. So
Okay. Well, thank you. You're an Elk Grove resident, so
I am.
are you, so I assume you're proud that it's in Elk Grove, that
Of
we're doing
course.
something? Well, no, I appreciate it, because no, this, when we did this program, as the U.S. Department of Justice said, it was revolutionary, but it's also new. And new ideas have to be able to stand up to the test of time. Now, it's only been 4 years, 3.5 years, but we're getting to that time, and it's nice starting to see, one, how it's doing, but more importantly, how can we make it better? And you brought up some great points of how we can make it even better. And the part I know a lot of this board likes, it's being funded by other government agencies.
Right.
We're not funding it for the most
Right.
part. It's being paid for by the feds and the state, which is great to have that opportunity to do it. Our original seed money is still, the majority of it's still sitting there, which has been great. So I thank you. Trustees, any questions?
Just a quick question. I mean, the information the data gave us was great. Is that basically your function within the CARE organization? I mean, do you report on this, or are you actively involved in?
I'm not anything involved.
Okay.
How I became, my original project kind of fell through because of COVID, and I actually just cold called the mayor. I mean, by email. Like, I just had an idea. I'm like, it was suggested that evaluating a program that's been recently in place would be something that is kind of COVID-proof. And I was like, wow, I live in a town that has a great program. And they were gracious enough to say, great idea, go for it.
Okay, well, and then I assume that Des and the chief and deputy chief, you take the data that she's provided and you make it, apply it to the programming.
Yeah, we've already initiated some of the recommendations, meetings with people over at the NIDA, and we've had 2 referrals come from them already. And the other recommendation was with the fire department, and just one more presentation to give to the fire department, which will be at the end of March. So, yeah.
So META referred 2 people. So what you said, one of the areas we were lacking, you got worked it out, and it's already getting more help.
I think
People
it's
need-
great. I mean, that was my background. I worked over there for 15 years in the ER, so.
Doesn't that feel good? I
Yeah.
mean, here's 2
It's
people
good.
maybe would have fallen through the cracks again. They're now, and you're still enthusiastic about it, Des?
Yes, ma'am.
I know it's hard. It gets frustrating. I know at the beginning, we had a lot of frustrations,
Well,
but
it was very new and just getting to know the ropes, but it's pretty well oiled now. And the officers, when I'm not here, they do a good job, and when I'm here, it's pretty easy to get people into treatment now. The only delay, and it's happened rarely, but it's happened on a few occasions when they've been full. During the pandemic, the share program was closed because of COVID, so people had to wait.
but now it's opening back
Oh,
up,
yeah,
and
they're all open.
and Danny, you took over for Deputy Chief Kaspari. What are you thinking? You
Got a couple things I'm proud of was, once I got the job, you said congratulations, and you said make Elk Grove Cares a priority. So we did that. We formed a team, we added Delore, she helped do the grant writing, and got us a $101,000 grant that'll cover this year.
Mhm.
She told me personally that she gets upset with money back. So we did the team approach, designated the 4th new treatment center in the last few months, at Ridgeback and Buffalo Grove. Now we have 4 places. Met with Kenneth County Center and looked for a while to talk about the care grant money and how that's spent. Last few months, Elk Grove has become what they call trainer status for Narcan, so we now get free Narcan from the state, so we're covered by that. So with that $385,000 for the care grant, there's more money for the social
Other
welfare
things.
programs. That as the director of the care grant for all the suburbs, I get to pick where that money gets spent for all the things on. So that's new information.
that's great.
Laura put in the newsletter information about the Elk Grove Cares program that brought that JAS company that did the bake sale. So now we have that kind of momentum of how we can get the community involved. specifically of the paper that she wrote, communication with the officers, that started attending briefings, talking about the officers. Once they get out of the academy, before they hit the street, they meet with Des to talk about the Elkhorn Cares program, so they can feel confident in that. And as a result of our meeting with you, the mayor, you're the one that brought up the paramedic and ER thing. Most of that had taken off because fire department said they trained on it 4 years ago, but they haven't talked about it in the meantime. And then Des said that the ER, they just weren't really aware of the program. So that was a result specifically of a survey question where she was disappointed, I was disappointed about why are our officers saying that they're not immediately presenting the
Referring.
program to somebody that just came out of, they were in RPM, they just got pulled out of this unconscious situation. It's within seconds of it, it's not appropriate.
Right.
A couple minutes, 10 or 15 minutes later, that kind of thing. So we need all that information. We have 98 participants today, and we had 8 just at the beginning of the year.
So we had average 4 a month for the first 2 months of the year. So that could be our biggest year if it keeps going that route. Could be 50 people, that's, so,
There's other people that sought shelter, or use lobby, or they cold weather. Tess is checked on in the morning, and sometimes there's alcohol addiction issues. So he's found pretty frequently we're getting emails saying, I found something else we're getting help. So awesome program, we're gonna keep going upward, upward.
well, that's great. I mean, it's an evolving thing, and we're looking, a year from June, will be our 5th anniversary, may do some kind of special thing to get the word out again, keep the word going, because obviously, Doctor, you think it's making a difference.
I do.
Well,
I
That's,
do.
that's good. And I'm glad to see our guys are listening to what you're saying. And no, I mean, what
No, I
really makes me
mean-
proud tonight is hearing that 2 people from Amita got
Yeah.
referred. Those people would never gotten help. It wasn't for your
Well,
survey.
I mean, and like you said, that's
and
the
our-
process, is having an outside evaluator provide insights, suggestions, ideas, and then you as the program, because I don't work for them, I have my own job, so I'm just a resident, and then as a student, this was my project. So they took it and ran. So,
Well-
I mean, they had, you guys, I gave you 3 copies of my manuscript if you.
Well, you pointed in the right direction, and they followed your direction, and we got results, and we're gonna keep doing it. So, any other questions first from trustees?
I think if I could.
Pat, you had a question?
Yeah. First of all, I wanted to thank you for your fine presentation and your research project. This will help us in the future as we go ahead, in the years ahead, applying for grants. One of the things, I'm not sure if you know or not about what's happening to get this program started here. Mayor Johnson went over and over and over again, church after church after church after church. He had the toughest time getting the Catholic Church to agree, but he finally got in there and talked to the parishioners about this program, so we'd get large numbers of people to really know about it and could see how much he's committed to it. That was a really big help about getting this going.
It was a grassroots effort, as I understand. He has shared that with me. But I mean, to me, if you're a faith-following person, it doesn't, I don't know why you would not be a part of this. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do about morals or whether or not, even if you agree or with drug use or like whatever. It's about intervening and keeping people alive until they can enter recovery.
Well, as
That's all
Des
it
told
is.
us, it takes 7 times for the average person, 7 relapses before the average person makes it. So we always tell people in Elk Grove, there's no 7-strike or 3-strike rule. We're there for, and we've had many, Des, gone through, but we've had some go through multiple times and make it. They got through it, so we don't give up. So, well, Doctor, I want to first off thank you for your time, your effort. Hopefully you do get published and stuff like that. But more importantly, thank you for, I think, giving a kudos to our guys for a job well done that our people are doing, because as you said, it's working. We're making a difference. And, it's the toughest job, but it's one that's well worth it. So I thank you for your efforts. I thank you for your time. And we appreciate it. I know we're going to take your work and we're going to make it even better. So my hope is in a couple years, maybe if you reevaluate again, and see where we're at, because, you know, we get this momentum going and keep it going, you know. And as we learned, a police officer from New York said, he was listening to Gaspari talk in Texas, now New York City's program is modeled after the Elk Grove Cares. So the biggest city in the country, their program helping addiction is modeled after Little Elk Grove Village. So 7 million people are watching 33,000 how to do it. So it makes you feel good. So thank you again for all your work.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And with that complete, that adjourn the committee of the whole, and we'll go on right up and get started on our board meeting. Thank you.